Does God exist? It's one of the oldest and most important questions human beings have ever asked. For some people, the answer seems obvious. For others, belief in God feels unnecessary or even impossible. But the question matters. Because if God exists, then our lives have meaning, purpose, and accountability. And if God does not exist, then ultimately we are alone in the universe. So today, I want to share 5 reasons many thoughtful people believe that God exists. These are not meant to force belief on anyone, but they are reasons that point us toward the reality of God. The first reason is the beginning of the universe. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. A chair exists because someone made it. A painting exists because someone painted it. Things don't just appear out of nothing. Modern science tells us that the universe itself had a beginning. The Big Bang Theory describes a moment when space, time, matter, and energy all came into existence. Before that moment, the universe as we know it did not exist. But if the universe began to exist, then it must have a cause. And that cause cannot be part of the universe itself, because the universe didn't exist yet. The cause would have to be outside of space and time, incredibly powerful and capable of bringing the universe into existence. For thousands of years, people have used one simple word to describe a being like that: God. The second reason is the fine-tuning of the universe. The universe appears to be incredibly precise. The laws of physics and the constants of nature are balanced in such a way that life is possible. If gravity were slightly stronger or weaker, stars could not form properly. If the expansion of the universe after the Big Bang were just a little different, galaxies would never exist. If many of the physical constants were changed by even a tiny fraction, life would be impossible. Scientists often describe this as the fine-tuning of the universe. It's as if the dials of the cosmos were set with extraordinary precision. And when we see something finely tuned, we usually assume that someone tuned it. A watch suggests a watchmaker. A computer suggests a designer. In the same way, the fine-tuning of the universe suggests that there may be an intelligent mind behind it. The third reason is the existence of moral law. Across cultures and throughout history, human beings have recognized that some things are truly right and some things are truly wrong. For example, most people would agree that things like torture, injustice, or genocide are deeply wrong. But here's the question: where does that moral standard come from? If morality is just a human invention, then nothing is truly right or wrong. It would simply be a matter of opinion. One culture could say something is good, another culture could say it is evil, and neither would be objectively correct. Yet deep down we know that certain actions really are wrong, no matter who commits them. Our sense of justice points beyond ourselves. Some critics of Christianity say that the Bible itself contains commands for genocide in the Old Testament, but that is actually a misunderstanding of the historical context. The passages often cited describe specific acts of divine judgment against violent nations in a unique moment of history, after centuries of warning and moral corruption. These were not commands for indiscriminate violence or ethnic hatred, and they were never presented as a pattern for God's people to repeat. In fact, the overall story of the Bible moves in the opposite direction, towards justice, mercy, and love for enemies. So when we talk about moral law, the point is this: our deep sense that some things are truly right and others truly wrong suggests that there is a moral lawgiver behind the universe. The fourth reason is the historical case for Jesus. Christianity is not just a philosophy or a set of moral ideas. It is rooted in historical events. Most historians agree that Jesus of Nazareth was a real person who lived in the 1st century. He taught about the kingdom of God, performed acts that people believed were miracles, and was crucified by the Roman government. But the remarkable thing is what happened after his death. The earliest followers of Jesus became convinced that he had risen from the dead. This belief spread rapidly across the Roman Empire, even though many of these early Christians were persecuted or killed for their testimony. something happened that transformed a frightened group of disciples into bold witnesses who were willing to risk everything. For Christians, the resurrection of Jesus is not just a spiritual symbol, it is evidence that God has acted in history. The fifth reason is the universal human longing for meaning. Human beings are unique among all creatures in the way we search for purpose and meaning. We ask questions about why we exist. We pursue happiness, success, and fulfillment. But even when people achieve wealth, fame, or power, many still feel a deep sense of emptiness. It's as if something inside us is searching for more. Many thinkers throughout history have suggested that this longing points toward God. Just as hunger points to the existence of food and thirst points to the existence of water, our longing for ultimate meaning may point to the one who created us. But even with all these reasons, I want to be honest about something. Evidence alone will rarely convince someone who has already decided not to believe. You can present arguments and ideas, but belief in God is not just an intellectual exercise. Ultimately, the deepest proof of God comes through encounter. And this is where my own story comes in. I grew up as a pastor's kid. Faith was part of my life from the very beginning. But if I'm being honest, the last thing I wanted to be was a pastor. I wanted to be successful, I wanted to be rich, I wanted to be famous. So I worked hard and pursued a career in the world of sports marketing. It was a glamorous world. I had opportunities to interact with incredibly famous athletes like Tiger Woods, Roger Federer, and Yuna Kim. I was around people with money, influence, and global recognition. But somewhere along the way, I realized something surprising. Even in a world full of success and prestige, there was still a huge emptiness in my heart. The things I thought would satisfy me didn't actually satisfy me. And that was when God began to draw me back to Himself. For me, the proof of God was not just an intellectual exercise, it became personal. I experienced the reality of God in my life in a way that changed everything. So here's what I would say to you. Evidence matters, reason matters, asking hard questions matters. But if you really want to know whether God exists, the most honest thing you can do is ask Him. You can pray a very simple prayer. God, if you are real, reveal yourself to me. If you ask sincerely with an open heart, you may be surprised at how God responds. Because the greatest proof of God is not just an argument, it's when the God of the universe meets you personally.